So we see your notes on this head sheet. We'll probably ask you about it when we come to it.
I did read more about that,
Yeah,
and I'm okay, we're okay. with that.
okay.
You know, Crystal's sometimes persuasive, it's like, but I thought more about it later on, it's still 2 days, we could still do it, so.
Yeah, that was for 11 vests.
Really?
Yeah,
$1,700 or $1,800 each. That sounds about right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
but like, that's most of the department, or probably all the
why
department.
why did they
needs
get
a
all new
vest.
vests? Yeah,
Just like, or at a minimum, what do they do with the old ones? Or they all had vests. They were,
maybe there's an updated standard or something.
yeah. I wonder if they're able to surplus the old ones. or something. Jill could use one. Election season, everybody wants to know about the budget.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, no.
I mean, it's outrageous, Robert, but you know, her boots cost $700 now for a good one. And I'm thinking Kevlar is expensive. I don't know, it just sounds expensive. So.
Yeah, they were about 1,000, and then there was another $500.
It's government work, you figure out what's reasonable and then you double it. Well, that's about right. Right. Tank of fuel is 220 in my pickup, so.
Wow.
And I went to Antelope again last week and I filled it up. I had to fill it up more than once on the way down. Because I was pulling such a big load, it's like, oh.
Get on a long uphill grade, just watch
It's
that.
in Washington.
Oh,
I
man.
was that too, it's like, I better slow down, it's just.
That'll give you heartburn.
Good morning, Shannon.
Morning, forgive my tardiness, thank you for your patience.
Are you tardy? Oh, well, you are 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
All right,
You
take
probably didn't ride your
a
bike
beat
either.
out of the jar.
Yeah,
I think that means
That's
the
not how
spirit of the
that
job.
works.
I think so.
But-
You don't think so? We can get started whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, I think I'm ready, tardy but prepared. We have, I believe, an action item, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can tell you what it's for. And then I can discuss it, but I can't read it word for word. But it's requesting approval for out-of-class pay for Carrie McKinley. What it's associated with is, so she is our employee who has been our prevention manager and is our prevention manager. She has just gone through school for her master's of social work. She has finished her schooling. She will be moving into a full-time counseling position, but until her degree arrives, she can't do that. She does have her AAC, which is her agency affiliated counseling certification, so she can continue with the clients that she has so that they don't experience a lapse in service or disruption of trying to change to another counselor. So we would like her to be able to receive pay for doing counseling rather than pay for her management. So we're asking for an out-of-class pay for that reason. We think that it will be very short term as we wait for her degree to arrive. As soon as that arrives, we can get her into the actual position itself, and she will receive the pay associated with that. And therefore this would drop off.
Okay, I think our only snafu there is a payroll request to have that start on the 16th.
I thought more about it and we have 2 days still, so we should get it in,
Oh, we can.
yeah.
So the original motion is fine, May 1?
Yeah.
Okay, delay my last.
Okay,
Happy Monday.
thank you.
I move that we approve a $2.50 an hour out of class pay for Carrie McKinley, effective May 1, 2026, for providing mental health counseling, and approve the associated payroll change notice.
Second. A motion is second. Any other questions, gentlemen? Robert, you had something you good? Okay, you look like your wheels were turning. All right. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much. When I met, Robert offline, I asked him if there are things that you guys in particular would like to hear about at this meeting. He said one of the things of interest is there been any more discussion with Newport Hospital and Health Services about any sort of combining or working under or with them? And there just hasn't. That conversation has stalled. I've followed up via email. I haven't received a response, but I'll reach out to them again and just see where they're at, if they've had any other thoughts or further consideration, or if I can provide some more information, since I've had opportunities to, on our end, to look at what it would take as far as maintaining current payment streams and things like that. So the update is no update.
They just hire one over there, Robert, another counselor?
They hired a counselor, yes.
Yeah,
I believe they have 3 right now.
okay.
Yeah.
And then is New Health in that space as well?
New Health is, as far as hiring counselors,
Yeah,
or, I haven't seen a recent advertisement for one. They had an open position for a very long time, very long time, but that it was filled. And so they do have somebody over there now.
okay, and so they offer some counseling service, do we know where the overlap is there? Is there,
Say more about the overlap.
what's that?
You said, do we know about the
Do
overlap?
they offer same services we offer, or are they counseling for something else entirely?
So, nobody offers the comprehensive services that we have. But as far as, so their counselor, I don't know if she has an SUD credential or not, but she is a licensed mental health counselor.
Okay.
So she does mental health services, on the outpatient level as well.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think that we're gonna run into an issue where there is too much services in our county.
No, that's not really the question. The question
Okay.
is, are they a viable alternative for when we need bed space or when we need
Bed space, no.
co respondents?
Bed space, no. Co-response, potentially.
Yeah.
That is something that, if they had bandwidth to do, and I think that that is where we would run into difficulty if we were looking for that is, they have, that counselor, well, similar to Newport Hospital and Health Services, their counselors serve their patients. And so if you receive your primary care there, then you have potential to access a counselor there. And for New Health, it is similar. If you receive your primary care there, then you have potential to access their counselor. And I don't, for either one of them, I don't know the entire.
Would it be fair to say, Shannon, that mental health counseling service is a component of their physical health service? That they're primarily concerned about the physical health, and that's the reason they're doing that. It's just a component of it.
Well, and I guess I can't really speak for them.
Yeah,
So I
sure.
don't know, but I can
Right.
speak to the general concept of integrated health. So the
Yeah.
general concept of integrated healthcare is, lots of people know that it is important to get their physical health taken care of, and
Right,
maybe haven't necessarily recognized that there is a mental health component or a behavioral health component. And so by having a behavioral health provider in the building where you get your physical health care, it's destigmatizing. Like, this is part of your treatment team. If you
Right.
have needs in this area, we've got a person who knows a lot about that. And so it's a way of destigmatizing. And then it can be, depending on how you utilize it, adjacent to, the physical health. So for example, a person who is, being treated, we're gonna use an example of, like diabetes. So you're being treated for diabetes, but you're having difficult with lifestyle changes that will support lowering your A1C and utilizing your medications as prescribed and sticking with a physical like a body movement and eating plan for that. You might work with a counselor who helps you to discover other obstacles that might be in the way of you accomplishing that, or help you to figure out how to make the behavioral changes necessary that will provide a physical health change.
Sure.
So there are a couple different ways that can be
Yeah.
used. There's also, sorry, you asked me, this is a topic I really love. I love integrated health. There is all sorts of data that describes that when somebody dies by suicide, there's a really high chance that that person never saw a counselor, or if they did, not in the recent past, whereas within the last month or two, we'll have seen a medical provider. And so if you guys go for your medical appointments, there's a really good chance you're filling out a PHQ-9 or a GAD-7, and it asks questions about, have you ever thought of hurting or killing yourself? Like, there are mental health questions, and that's because, is there a place that we can intervene sooner rather than only in a mental health facility or only after you've raised the white flag? Like, is there a way to do prevention in that way?
So, a little bit of a rabbit trail, but it's on the agenda. You say if this is a subject you're fascinated by and enjoy. In grand scheme of things, if you had to start over from scratch, would counseling services, mental health services, comprehensive mental health services be integrated with comprehensive physical medical services?
Because I am more passionate about mental health care, I would flip it on its head, which a lot of states actually have moved towards, right? So if you look at the community behavioral health centers, the CCBHC model, the model is focused on your mental behavioral health. However, there is a medical component. So rather than well, I'm going to speak a little backwards. Okay, so when you're integrating, when you have a physical healthcare facility that is trying to integrate mental health, they automatically run into a problem. They hire a behavioral health consultant or a therapist, and then that therapist is generally trained on a 1-hour model. You see people 1 hour a week, once a week, until they've resolved either the problem or they've decided that they're ready to launch into the world on their own. The difficulty is your medical facility has hundreds of patients, maybe thousands of patients. One mental health provider cannot possibly serve all of those clients on a 1 hour a week model. So an effective way to integrate mental health care into an integrated facility or into a physical healthcare facility is you use a different model. You are not a 1 hour a week therapist. You are, you focus on a specific need over a specific period of time. You adjust it to the actual need. You act as a consultant to the medical providers as well. And then if there are people who have an ongoing need for mental health care specifically, then you refer them out to specialty services. So you take care of this on the lower level and refer out if needed. So no, if I were to flip it on its head, I would potentially integrate a medical component into a behavioral health center. And the reason that I would do that is a lot of the people who are, particularly in a community mental health center, a lot of people who are accessing those services, like they've already been shuttled to mental health, behavioral health concern, but a lot of them are not accessing regular medical care, and a lot of them have higher level of need, right?
Right.
So we coordinate as much as we can. We get, as part of our intake packets, we get a release of information and permission to talk to their medical provider. If they don't have a primary care provider, we work towards helping them. We recommend that they get one and do what we can to help them connect to one. Because we run into the same, a medical provider can only do so much about mental health care. Well, we can do almost nothing about physical health care. We can help people make lifestyle changes, but if they have a medical need that is beyond lifestyle change, we can't do anything about that. And we're not qualified to assess for it.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Robert also mentioned that you guys were interested in staffing. He asked where we were at with that. Our staffing is currently very stable. We did have a recent resignation of reception staff, and we don't intend to initially fill that position. We're going to see how we do where we're at. If there are things that we need to adjust or change up there, we will. So we're going to hold off for now. You guys already signed off on some position shuffling that is intended or predicted. We have our prevention provider who will be moving into a mental health position. We will be interviewing internally for the prevention manager's position, which will be vacated, which will, assuming that we hire internally, and we may not, but assuming that we do, that will leave one open prevention position. But other than that, we'll be fully staffed. And we've had very, very little turnover. We're very happy for our receptionist who is entering the world of entrepreneurship, which they have been working on over the last couple of years, actually. So another thing I had on here, and it says questions for the commissioners, but I kind of posed them to Robert, and Robert pointed me in a different direction. He said I should really be talking to Jill about the things on here as far as some of how the county and then this county department relate. Some of the language that we use to talk about the building that we have or the buildings that we previously had and make it sound like we have some sort of ownership over it as opposed to, nope, we are a county entity. This is how it works. So I had questions around, do we have a lease agreement with the county for our building? Because I sign off on something that says it's rent. Every month I sign off on rent. And so I actually met with Jill earlier today, and she had made some notes and explained, like, went over the budget with me in a way that I had not understood before. Was really, really helpful for me to look at the whole picture and not just my little piece of the pie.
You don't have to answer this, but Chris was able to answer these questions, yeah?
Chris answered the questions that I asked. And there are some things I didn't think to ask that Jill was able to explain to me.
I was hoping it was that instead of the other, so that's great.
And then also some of the answers that I had were ones that I don't think that, sometimes you need something explained to you a different way. I need it explained to me a different way.
Yeah.
The answer that I had left me still with more questions.
That's perfect.
So,
Feels good at that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
yeah, you do.
So short version, is that the relationship with, renting, okay, the building that we have, was, navigated about 20 plus years ago with the director at the time and with the commissioners at the time. My understanding is that there is no formal lease or rental agreement because we would be rental agreeing with ourselves. Jill said she would look at that again and see if there's any good reason for us to have a rental agreement with ourselves. And if there's a good reason for us to do it, we can work on that and make that happen. But the short version is what I came away understanding is, that we, look at my notes. That's not the one. So essentially, the building that we're in was purchased with Pend Oreille County generated funds that came out of a grant. But once it entered into the county, it belongs to the county. We can't own anything really in and of ourselves because we don't exist without the county. And the rent, as it is, it pays for essentially business expenses that if we were a private entity, we would be paying out to a lot of other sources. And instead it goes to our central, I'm not using the word, central services. It includes the work that, this is what I'm gonna say. Jill, can you help me out? But either way, I came out satisfied going, okay.
The overtime costs that you would have to pay for accounting, accounts payable, legal counsel, mail, buildings and stuff. And that was a way, back when they did it, that they have access to funding that could be used for that. It helps the county out, and because you're the budget authority over all of those funds, you could choose to do that.
The goal here, if I understand it right, is that any additional expenses that the county is, that comes from providing counseling services would be covered through counseling services.
Yeah, and they can
Yeah.
charge their grant
Sure.
for that.
They can charge their grant for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if we were at any other location, again, if it was a private entity, we would have to pay for those services. So instead we
Right.
pay them to our host, for lack of a
Right.
better word, or to ourselves to some degree,
right.
is my understanding. So I felt satisfied.
Do Jill, Shannon said you were going to review that again. Do we need to tabletop this? Like what are our metrics for
Yeah.
determining if that's a good value or not?
It was a way of helping the county when we.
Understood.
And there's backup reason why we would do that, so I'm just gonna talk to Dolly if she thinks there's a reason that we need to do that or not. If it helps, because I have had to explain the reason why to multiple directors, which is a good question.
Sure.
I'm glad that she asked. But maybe then if we had it in writing and it's more clear, maybe it helps her grants better, so I was just gonna talk to Dolly about
Well,
that.
the reason I asked is because there's sort of synthetic leverage for, I mean, let me start with this. We could take it out and trade if you want, but I don't think you want to be counseling commissioners. I mean, like, yeah, no, we would lose a lot of staff over that. Yeah, nobody needs it more, but there's sort of synthetic leverage here in that I can look the taxpayer in the eye and say, listen, you said, they're gonna be highly compensated staff, and they're gonna be some of our most credentialed staff, and those two things are intertwined. But 95% of that is paid by the state. And so when people have grumbles about the counseling services budget, and they do, most of it isn't ours.
So we have more than a $4 million budget, and I
Right.
believe like 37,000 of that comes from county funds.
Yeah.
And because of our rental agreement, because of the way that we more than
Right.
reimburse the county with the funds that we generate
Right.
and that we pay directly back to the main county funds.
And so it's not flavor of the month. It's of rising concern to the state of Washington. It is a high priority to the state of Washington. It's not inherently a high priority in a lot of states or in the budget anyhow. And so, is there more or less value appropriately extracted on behalf of the taxpayer here? And then frankly, based on, I don't know, per capita need, do we have KPI around that? Because it's fine. Okay, well, the five of us think this is a good number and have a nice day. That generally isn't good enough for bureaucracy.
Charge, is that what you said?
And the amount, did somebody just draw a number out of a hat? And that was 20 years ago.
No, this is a newer amount, it was a lesser amount, and then.
Or maybe
did
went up
a study
a little while ago.
a few years back, and, comparison and per square foot, and, with that.
Yeah.
And so is there a process outlined for that on a regular basis, looking at the terms?
Well, when that came.
There are no terms.
About the,
There are no terms, yeah, exactly.
Let's flip this around. From your guys' perspective, would you like to see terms?
Well, I really appreciated that Jill said that she would look into it and she would talk to Dolly. I think that Dolly is the right person to be really answering that question.
Right.
And I think that it would make things clear when you can look at a piece of paper and go, are we doing what we said we would do the way that we said we'd do it? It's a lot easier than going, who has the historical knowledge, right?
Right.
So Chris has the historical knowledge because she's been here forever.
Right.
Jill has the historical knowledge, but what happens when the people who've been here forever aren't here to pass on that information? And so I think that our legal counsel is absolutely the right one to go, yeah, we should probably formalize that, or nope, I don't see any reason to
Okay.
formalize that.
Okay,
That's my thought.
okay.
Um,
Well, we'll start with that, but please bring it back to the table regardless of what the decision is or the recommendation is from the prosecutor's office. I'd like to know. Because I think I think we ought to memorialize it somehow, simply for that continuity of government and the rest, right? Uh, it sounds like there are no terms, except there is a finite number amount. You're writing a check, somebody's writing a check with a precise number.
well, I will tell you, I did tell a couple of people at work, Chris in particular, I was like, well, I might have kicked a bee's nest. Like, once you have a formal agreement, then you have to have like a process. For all I know, our rent's gonna go up. And she was like, okay, but if that happens, at least I have a way of knowing when that's gonna happen, or being able to predict how I reserve funds for that, or any of those sorts of things. So, I think if there are rules, it's so much easier when they're all known to everybody, but,
Yeah,
so.
Well, and hopefully the goals are the same. We're trying to help people that require your type of help.
Sure.
And so, we should have the same goals, but our need in Ponderay County might be different, might be a different profile than other counties would see.
Well, I will also tell you, this didn't come up because I was like, ooh, like, we gotta tighten our belt, guys. It came up because sometimes I just get a little rigid or fixated on something I don't understand, and so I gotta chew it up until I understand it and can digest it properly. And every time there was doesn't matter the entirety of how it came up, but I was like, well, here it is again, and I still don't understand it. Chris, can you explain it to me again? And Robert, can you explain it to me? And Jill, can you explain it to me? I'm there now.
Shannon, that's not the way we do things here. In government, we say, that's the way it's always been done. And you don't
oh,
have.
question again.
Oh, that gives me,
Are you reinventing the wheel?
gives me a tummy ache. I gotta understand. If I don't understand, it's real hard for me. And so every once in a while, you're gonna find something I'm real stuck on, and I will try to work it over the right ways.
Well,
and
I think
understand
you're
it.
probably not the only one in this room that doesn't understand that and how we got there, but.
Yeah, and we need new people to question things like that, because there does need to be, even if we don't have a lease agreement, we have some kind of something in writing.
Like,
Yeah.
we looked
That
at it. Here we are.
explains it, why,
Yeah.
so it's not a mystery to every single person
Yeah.
that comes in. She
Good.
also was, concerned about the roof. So, you know how she's put it in her budget each year, and she's like, why if she pays rent, why is she?
Right,
not
right.
paying
Right,
for it, so, like I said, she could get on the list.
if I'm paying
capital
rent,
assets
if I'm paying rent, shouldn't the landlord fix the roof?
or capital
Depends on what the
assets.
agreement is.
Depends on what the agreement
Right,
is.
But there's no-
right.
That's right.
You are the landlord and you are the leasing,
Yeah.
Right,
you are both.
you are both.
She is
Yes.
just one of your accounts that
Right.
you're using to pay for something.
Got it, right.
So because that fund has the ability to pay for the roof, that would
Right.
be your choice.
That's
Otherwise,
that fun,
you
yes.
put it on the capital projects list, she can wait till it's a priority. to
Yeah,
move
which
up.
might be a while.
So
Yeah.
those are the choices for all of you to
I see.
decide.
Yeah, that's
And that's why we talked to
almost,
Jill.
almost clear and almost utterly confusing at the same time, so.
Yes.
Today, right now, I have a little cup of understanding, and I'm
Right.
going to take that and I'm gonna write it down somewhere, and, so I appreciated it. We don't have a ton of updates, really. We got a handful of Y staff out this week for some training, which is awesome. We love having more training. No current update for our crisis or co-responding. RMP, we are gonna have an extended absence for our program manager again, who is also manages Zebra. However, we do have a staff member who is really well versed in all of that territory and is listed on their job description, is backup to that manager, and so we're gonna be well covered. Also, that manager is just so capable and prepared and plans ahead, and so I'm not concerned about the order that things will be left in or how we'll pick up and when they get back. Substance use treatment. We did have an interesting meeting with Newport Hospital and Health Services, separate from us, from the other discussion, but it came out of that other discussion, which is how can we collaborate better to treat persons with substance use disorders. And one really valid way to treat them is with medication assisted treatment. Again, that's something though a medical provider would have to do, and Newport Hospital and Health Services has medical providers who are actively providing a medication for treatment of people with substance use disorders. What they don't have is they don't have the staffing or the it's not all about staffing. Part of it is have to have a special way of keeping records related to substance use conditions. And so there isn't the infrastructure, frankly. So although they have staff who are trained and could provide the services, they don't have the infrastructure to support it. So we're trying to streamline the way that we mutually refer to make sure that if they have patients who need counseling, we can streamline that process as best as we can for them, and then coordinate with their providers as well. And so that was a nice meeting. Mental health. I just wanted to give a shout out to our mental health providers. A few of them have done just such a great job of one of the ways that you meet a higher need with lower staff is you provide groups. It is evidence-based. The research says it's as good or better than treatment on an individual level for many of the conditions that we treat. And so it's just a really good way to treat. That being said, lots of counselors aren't comfortable with it or haven't had a lot of experience providing a group service. And so we've had staff who have jumped in, and most recently, James Riley and then also Carrie McKinley have been doing a DBT group at our office, and it's been really successful. It's been really well attended, very low attrition. So it's a very successful group.
There are no HIPAA implications there?
You sign off on it.
Well, everyone in the group?
Yeah,
Just like,
everyone in the group. They understand that there is a limited ability
right,
to keep it private. We can't share any information, but yeah, an individual's information could be shared by another group member. That could
Right.
happen. However, there is generally a lot of respect among people who are there seeking help. They want help. They want the other people to get help. And so, yep, it comes with a risk.
Yeah.
We've done substance use groups for forever.
Well, tie into a question I have in just a minute, so
there are risks that are associated with it, but that's part of it. There are group rules. What's said in group stays in group. Does that mean everybody obeys the rules, or that? No, not any more than everybody obeys the speeding laws. So there is a certain amount of trust and taking people at their word. We're going to take you at your word. I'm going to be able to share what I need to share because this is the right place to share, and you're going to be able to do the same. So, you had a follow-up question to that, sir?
it's adjacent. And I want to be acutely aware of the guardrails around HIPAA here. So, but it's a social media question. So counseling services right now is absolutely taking a beating.
Sure are.
A person. If you're aware of it, you can just stop me here and, okay, you've got it under control, and I'm glad to hear it because, I mean, our part is, of course, is to not just assume everybody's doing their job and so if you're all over it, then
I'd be happy to share the email with you that I shared with my staff this morning that just tells you what we're doing, why we've handled things the way that we have up until this point. Of course, the hope is that if there is something that we can resolve, we will resolve that with the person who has the concern. We can't respond directly on social media because the potential for violating HIPAA is so high. So the hope is that we can adequately address that. Anonymity makes it somewhat hard. But that being said, I will share with you what we have done. And then if this is not something that quiet downs, it continues to be a thing, we will move forward with that. As far as if we need to, we can have a public listening session. We can have an informational as far as helping people know how it is that we do handle situations. For that matter, one of the particular concerns is there was a wait list. Like, what's that? Why does it happen? How do you handle the wait list? How do you make sure people are followed up with? What is your process? We would be happy to respond, and most importantly, one of the things that we did is we posted on our own page, the best way to get a hold of, to get your problems resolved. Like, we want your feedback, we want to be held accountable, we want our systems to work. I will tell you, I think that anybody who has ever gotten any sort of healthcare has had experiences where it didn't work the way that you wanted it to, or that you thought it should, and sometimes the way it should have worked. And so I can really see how somebody would want to be vocal about that, and would want some understanding, and would want like people to say, hey, like, I get this. So I think that anytime there is any sort of genuine concern, it's a great opportunity for us to review our processes, our procedures, look at it. Did we do what we said we do? Did we do it the way, did we do it well? Is there a problem that needs to be fixed? Is that a broad problem? And so we're looking at all of those things. It's important to us. So again, I'm going back to the initial concern a person might have. But when you talk about a meeting, it's the comment section.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. Okay, well, that's really.
Y'all need counseling in there.
Well, like, people have some strong feelings. There's also some assumptions being made that all of that information is
First,
right. Some names, the people who did not post anonymously, that was interesting, because some of the names are like, oh, well, I know why that's coming up, or it has nothing to do with them being clients either, right? A few of them. So, but one of the common comments was essentially those people should be ashamed of themselves, or they don't care. And the thing is if you've ever been in our office, you can't walk away without knowing that the people in there care. There are people who show up every day with the intention and the purpose and the desire and the internal fire to help.
well, they've made it their life's work.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, I will listen, as you well understand, our part to play is in between the lines, and is there opportunity to raise the bar? And then specifically, that would be hard for anyone, for any one of your staff to find out someone fell through the cracks and then had, a worst case scenario outcome. That would be absolutely devastating, right? And so, we're comfortable. We've learned what we needed to learn, or there wasn't anything to learn at all. Then I'm off of it.
But that'll happen before.
If you weren't aware, fair. If you were unaware of it, then, we'd have to focus down, but I didn't figure in a county this small. There may have even been some anonymous comments that were plugged in by staff, and honestly, some of it was encouraging. Some of the folks are like, no, I get really good care there.
Yeah, I saw some positive. And I saw you guys as kind of response on your official, not really a response, but sort of, I think it was appropriate. Yeah, I think in those kind of things, it's public relations, and somewhat you have to be proactive in putting the other side out there a little bit, because nobody spreads good news. And unfortunately, it's just human nature.
They really don't.
Nobody says, hey, they did more than I could have expected. That's not what.
But I get to educate people about potholes. I get to be very, very careful, around mental health clients or all of the above there. So, I could see why a lot more people would just choose to say nothing in a thread like that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay,
And
but you're all
I stand by what we put on our page, which is everybody deserves timely access to care and compassion, and to know what to do next, and to have more answers than questions. That is, everybody deserves that. And so, anyway. We're invested, we care. If there's something to learn, we will learn. If there is not something to learn, we will not learn it. But I think there's always something to learn.
Yeah, sure. Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Shannon.
That's the chair's permission, please take this table
Thanks,
for
Adam.
5 minutes.
You bet.
You're so good.
I knew I saw your wheels turning.
Chair, can I ask for a copy of that? So we can get going on it, so we can have the 2 days.
Okay, copy or make sure they're all copy.
So this is back to the EDAC discussion. Let me see if I can state. Sort of situational, observations that I have, and see if I can get to. Resolution in a positive way, which I would like to get to. So my situational observations are. Jessica has gained a degree of. Sort of, in the port, institutional competence. They're getting the job done. I told that to Jessica 2 weeks ago. I said it on this.
I told her you said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of how are they doing? They're doing okay. And I will. There's a longer story here that I won't get into. I will set aside my historical baggage that I carry. If we can get agreement on the following point. The port has offered 3 years at $140,000. What I would propose, and I would vote yes on this proposal is. We will have a 1-year contract at $140,000. And the county will retain an option for 2 additional years at $140,000. First, let me ask, did that come through clearly? Not whether you
I
like
think
it.
I understood, yeah, an option to exercise or non-exercise is.
Correct. I would vote for that.
At 1 year, we would have the option to renew it for an additional 2
2
years.
years at $140,000.
I'll carry it to them if you want.
Okay,
I like it,
thank you.
but I don't speak for them. I'm a so
Well, and the language around it, does that give them any option? Do they
No.
have an option at the 1 year, just
No.
hours to
At that
exercise?
rate.
Or
At that
not
rate, since
exercise?
they have now said they're willing to commit to 3 years at $140,000. What we're asking them to do is to honor that commitment of 3 years at $140,000. But at the end of 1 year, we have a review right. And I think from a citizen perspective, that's a prudent, fair. Okay.
Robert, it's a fair offer. It's a step in the right direction for having, I think, a more cooperative and collaborative arrangement. I would carry it, see what
Thank
happens.
Okay,
And then I'll try to do that today.
great,
Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
Just while we're getting settled in, so I am on the review committee for the Washington State University Extension Agent. We have 38 applications. I've gone through quickly almost all of them. They're all highly qualified people. I don't know what that says. It says something, but I'm like one person after the other. It's like I hired them. Right? Oh no, we're gonna get that does say something. Yeah.
Well, anything else before lunch, gentlemen?
That's for me.
John, you good for lunch?
Good.
Okay, let's go ahead and recess till 1:15.
So we're back, Maybe I comment.
Mhm.
So Andrew's here at 2:00.
Right.
Um. He may come in to talk a little before that, so we want to go a little bit past 1:15, so we can talk in 1:01.
Oh, I see. Sure, you wanna go to 1:30?
That's great.
Okay, that's fine, yeah, let's do 1:30.